Hello, this is Six Bolt in Von Doom's lab. So instead of writing a novel out on this small release, I thought I'd try something doing different, doing a video. So this will be the release for version 1.1.3b. So kind of continuing on from the alien gun. So let's get into it. So the first change that I did was add visual and audio cues kind of to when you add and delete guns. So the audio cues are for when you add, edit, and delete a light gun. Then the visual cues are for when you're adding and deleting a light gun. So if you come up here, you put up the add gun. We can just go do Reaper. Oh. As you see over here now, we have light guns in the list. So it should now it will play a sound when you add it. So you should hear a gun racking for when you add it. So then you can see light guns in the list go up from 1 to 2. So make your guesses on what's deleting a light gun. I think it's kind of obvious, but throw it out there. So that's for adding. So let's go here to edit light gun. So if we come over here and change this to X, and if I hit edit, you will hear another sound effect, which is a bullet hitting the ground. So now if we delete it and see if you guys are right for it or not. Of course, it's a gunshot. Then you can see the light guns in the list go from 2 to 1. So that's kind of the new audio and visual kind of things. Instead of having pretty much dead silence sometimes, or just seeing the COM port go away. And also for the USB HID, if you come down to like the alien gun, now you can actually see things going away. So if I come to here at F0 VD, it's my power adjust for my Aqua computer. So if oops, I didn't name it. Let's call it test. So you hear it going, then now you'll see it disappeared. So kind of like the COM. Now if you add kind of a path in or device in, it will disappear from the list. So once you add it, you can't add it again. So even if we do this one here, F001, right, we can do test 2, and you'll see the F001, and once we add it, as you can see, it disappeared. So I did that kind of just more because that's how I kind of have it with the COM port to kind of keep it the same. And also once you add it, because before this it just stayed there and didn't see it, which is not good. But that was when I changed it from the vendor ID to the path. So now if we go over to the edit, we can see the other side of it. So if we come down here on test, it's kind of like the same on the COM, but actually bring up where it's at. So now you can see the F0BD. So if we switch it to the other one, now it's the F001, and that's the only one because it's only showing what you have. I don't have any alien guns, so I have to click this, then it will bring up all the stuff. So then it will show all the list. So this is the F0BD, right? And it will put it at the bottom of the list. So these are all the available ones, and the one you have selected right now will be on the bottom of the list. And you can see that when I go back to the other one. Now it's switched over, and that's at the bottom. Instead of the BD one, now it's the F001. So those kind of the changes with the alien light gun. So now it's kind of very similar to the COM where it disappears and goes away. And also for the alien light gun, I only had the delay recoil for the recoil command. So the ammo and the ammo value commands for the alien light gun didn't have that delay recoil in them. And I left the commands blank, as only time ammo and ammo value is used if you take the pattern from the ammo value directory that I include. So it wouldn't affect any of the games that are default for Hook of the Reaper. But if you tried to use a game with ammo or ammo value, there was nothing there. But now I switched it over and added it into it. So now if you actually look for the alien gun, you can see the ammo and ammo value are there. And now the ammo uses display ammo, so they're not connected to it anymore. So now those will work easily. And also I was thinking, I know somebody brought up on the Alien 3 game, it wasn't working too well, which after I thought about it, it's probably correct for it. So, because the Alien 3 and Terminator 2 uses the recoil rumble to solenoid command to make it act normally. Then when the power goes out in Alien 3, it kind of makes the recoil go off, so you know, and to take your finger off the trigger for a little bit to recharge. I think I heard Terminator 2 is not working that bad, but for right now, maybe for the settings for the alien gun, maybe not play on Alien 3. I think I have to change some things to get it synced up, because after I thought about it, it's probably, I think probably to do it the right way, I have to make some changes so to get synced up so it works correctly. So right now it might double recoil, maybe too fast. So just be on the safe side. I probably suggest people with the alien gun don't play Alien 3, right? Until I get the version 1.14 out. I'll have that fixed. So it's one of those things where, you can't test out everything if you don't have the hardware kind of thing. And also, even though I had the hardware, it would be really hard to test like a whole bunch of games. But okay. Moving on. So the next thing I want to talk about is I know a lot of people want to start using the switch aspect ratios and for the other guns, I don't know if it can not do it. So if you look at like the open fire, like you have like a S6 which takes over everything. So if you do that command, would it allow you to change the aspect ratio? And I don't have open fire, so I don't know. So what I did was I created some new commands. I created opencom noinit. So what opencom noinit does, it just connects to the COM port or just connects to the USB HID and does none of the commands. So the noinit is these commands in the file, the S6, the MDX2. Then the close com is the E. So I kind of just, so in this example, I do opencom noinit, change the aspect ratio to 4:3. then at the end of the game, I change it back to 16 by 9 and just close. So since we had no init going in, then you leave going init. So then it just closes the COM port. So that's just kind of a clean way just to just open and close, no commands going or anything. So then and also you can do the joystick too. So I know these will have joystick mode and keyboard and mouse mode. Those are, you can do those too. Then also for some places where you want to have it, but you didn't want to do the init. So what I did is you can do open comment no init, change the aspect ratio, then you can do an open com, which has the init. And it's fine to do an open com after open com no init, because it will try to open the com, but it'll just see it's open already and pretty much do nothing. So it doesn't hurt it doing the open com. It just probably the only thing it hurts, it might waste a little time. But then it will do the init command. So then, like I said, in the open fire, it will do the S6, the MD X2. Then on the close, you do close com init only. So if you did the init, so if you did the S6, and for it to change, you had to exit out of it. So you needed that E to change things. That's why I created close com init only. So this is kind of the opposite. This will just do the init commands and not close it. So then it will do that E. Then you can change the aspect ratio back to 16 by 9. Then you can do close com no init, which is then just close the com. So those are kind of the two examples. So you can do no initting and do the commands, or if there is some light gun, I don't know if it happens on an open fire or not, but just to be safe, I put them in there. And if every light gun does work with it, I just kind of just future-proofed it. So I guess it doesn't, in the end, doesn't matter. And also if you do want to use like open and close, but since it just mix on closing or initting, you're just splitting up. So there's no really new commands in the file, because I'm just splitting these where it would open the com and do these. Then at closing, it would do this command, then close. So I'm just kind of just separating that a little. So that's why there's no new commands into the file. Okay. So next thing, I toned down the debug warning. So if you go into settings, there's a bypass serial port write check. I think I went probably a little too much. I went to a apocalyptic warning, probably down to maybe a natural disaster warning maybe now. So to turn it on, you get a pop-up warning. You can go yes, and turning off doesn't have anything. So this debug is more when I had some people with, mostly it's kind of seemed with the Reaper light guns, where when they had a bad USB extension, it wasn't connecting or working with Hook of the Reaper. So this is kind of check to see, if you turn this on and now it starts kind of working, then you can probably tell it's probably the USB cabling or the USB port. Something's wrong with it. So I kind of put in debug, as I don't want if the USB cabling or the ports aren't working correctly, then you don't want to use it for normal use. I always think of the guns. I know like open fire and gun for IR, you can open the solenoid and kind of leave it open. I know some of them have temperature sensors, so it can't really damage it, but I'm always worried about safety. So that's why I'm like, if you have a bad cable or something, you don't know what's gonna happen. But yeah, I had some people like that. So then also I know MAME Hooker doesn't do any of the checking. So then MAME hooker would work, but hooker the Reaper wasn't working. So I thought as like probably is a good check to see, if we can narrow down what's the problem and if it's like a USB cable or not. So that's kind of what the debug does. It just bypasses a lot of the write checks, which kind of MAME hooker I don't think does from what I was reading. Okay, the next thing I did was I added in retries for the serial port write or the USB HID write. I should have probably done this a long time ago, but I just finally did it. Now, if it fails, it retries 2 times. So it will try writing 3 times total. So if it fails the write, it will retry a couple times. That's probably a good way. Sometimes you're going to have maybe something fail, so it wasn't the best, probably not just to try to do one write. So now I have putting in retries. And also I kind of did also for the serial port writes and connecting, I redid some of the error messaging. Since I switched over to the Windows API, there were some things I wasn't checking in the error message, I think, or it could have been something else, but now I'm checking it to make sure, because it was crashing Hook of the Reaper, if there's something happens with the serial port write or connecting, or well, there's no checks with disconnecting, so it was connecting and write was sometimes crashing, and it's because of the Windows API kind of switching over to Qt format and some of that. And also I had to find out at the check. So I went in there and I hopefully fixed all of it. So now it shouldn't crash and it should pop up a warning now. So then you can know what was failing or not. And the last change, which you probably would never see, is I made getting light gun commands from the light gun class more efficient. So I went through all the commands. So what happens is the hooker engine, if it gets recoil and it says, hey, recoil is happening, then the hooker engine will ask the light gun class or the light gun, hey, can you give me the commands for the recoil? Then it will send all the commands for a recoil to it. Then it'll then send that to the serial port or the USB HID. So that's when you save a light gun, that goes into the list. Then hooker engine goes to the light gun in the list and says, hey, give me these commands, kind of thing. That's kind of how it's architected. And I try to make it a lot more efficient sending the commands if some things happen. So you probably never notice it, but I put it in. But that's it for this. So hopefully maybe you guys find it better or not instead of reading my whole long list of changes. But so take care. Bye.